Gundam.tk presents Legend Gundam. Hey again everybody, Robert184 GundamReviews.net, and I'm here to wrap up with the final part of my review of the 1/100th non-grade Legend Gundam. It doesn't have a master grade yet, sadly, but so far it's been looking pretty good. So here's my bad list and good list so that you can make a call whether you want to add this guy to your other bad guys like Providence, Goldframe Amatsu, and anybody else on your shelf. To kick things off with the negatives, please pretend that he's just fired everything off and they are all flying through the air gracefully. Anyway, starting at the bottom, I've had a few problems just with the ankles, the way that they're going to bend. Basically, because they've got these parts down here, they do have a large range of mobility, but the gray part can catch them every once in a while if you're not too careful with that. But that's certainly balanced out by the fact that they can just move so well. I guess the biggest thing just looking at this guy overall is just going to be his lack of color. I've used the word colorful, but I guess you sort of have to take that back. He comes across as being very gray and blue. The red certainly helps, but he certainly could use another color just to sort of liven things up. The white for me is great. It's good on the forearms, it's good on the V-fin, it's good on the neck. But overall, it can sort of get lost just because that whole area is your eyes are going to be drawn away by everything that you're going to see from the back. But outside of that, there's not all that many problems. The waist is going to be solid. You can imagine, or you can hope that it would have better hips, something more master grade-ish as opposed to just the ball pegs that are just going to sit in there. The waist doesn't have any articulation, but really I'm just sort of reaching here in terms of things to find. I'm lucky that I have the action base here, and so that's going to fit up there. You've got to be a little bit careful with this backpack when you open it up that it doesn't fall all the way off. And you also can't have it in every position that you want because you can see that these little triangles protrude, so if you bend them inwards, you can't actually have the action base go up and inside to keep them up there vertical. But other than that, I'd say this guy has a lot more positives than negatives if you can get past the bland coloring. And one thing not to forget though is just the fact that this rifle is not going to look anywhere near as good as it does when it's painted by a pro on the package. It's got a lot more colors and would really come to life compared to this seal plastic hodgepodge. So how about the positives? And I gotta say that there's a lot more of those than I expected before putting this kit together, starting with the ankles, which may seem strange, but they are going to move around to positions all over the place. And when you combine that to the fact that you've got the thrusters on the back in the colors, you've got this navy blue part, the applications there, I'm crazy about the way they added the little color details to the waist section. That's just a big plus compared to so many other old kits, where you're going to be getting that in non-grade and doing seals all over the place. Colors all over the chest, the fact that they've got those fake little pipes in there. I didn't even mention earlier that when he spins around, you can see that there's a red part just under the neck part there. You can see under the white collar that there's a red part. Little things like that that are all done out of plastic. Outside of the fact of the beam rifle being sort of disappointing with its over-reliance on seals, nothing else is relying on seals. The legs are going to bend well outside of the hips, the arms are going to move around in millions of places, the shoulders are going to have near master grade-like articulation. And let's get into the weapons, where you're going to have the beam sabers. They're going to give you two of them, and they're going to give you two options. They're playable, they're fun because they're going to fit in there, and you're also going to have the combined one, which is going to look just as good and put it together. They don't have to give it to you, but they did, obviously, because they care. Or so you'd like to think. In terms of the funnels, they're going to fit on very, very well. I love the design of them. One on the hip sort of looks better than the Providence, and it's two. And having the three skinny ones off to the side, I think, is a big win. And up there, those two big ones, very Providence-y, and I think that they look fantastic up there, and being up there is probably the best part. But overall, you've got articulation, the proportions are great. This is not a master grade, but it's very skinny, which is very unlike some of the other non-grades that are always a little bit squat. He seems to be the right height, the right proportions, and if you can get past those colors, I think he's got color apps all over the place. The head and the white is especially the big win for me. The navy blue on the horns and the fact that you've actually got it around the face guard. Everything about this guy so far has won me over, especially the fact that you can move the backpack in so many more ways than the Providence does, and the fact that he can stay standing without the help of an action base with all those ridiculous poses. This guy, yeah, you can guess what the verdict is going to be. And that is overwhelmingly positive. This has got to be one of the best non-grades that I think I've ever put together. Really, you know that I can go on for 2 or 3, 4 minutes sometimes rambling on about all the bad things, and for this one I was stretching really to even find those. Not to mention the fact that this was sort of a bonus, so I get the action base thrown in, and you've got those attachments, which would have been a big deal back in 2006, to get your Strike Freedom or your Destiny up airborne. But since most Legend kits aren't going to have that, I'm not going to really count this. But it was fun to put together. It was an interesting build. It wasn't monotonous, even having built Providence not too long ago. And I think he's not going to be repetitive because he's just got a lot more features than Providence. Providence's shield is a little bit more interesting, as is his large melee beam sword that he's got coming out of his left arm. But this guy, just for the fact that he's going to have the Darth Mauls and that they're done so well, is going to work. This guy is going to have a better gun. It's just more manageable than Providence's, and you throw in the millions of different things you can do with the backpack, or at least 4 or 5, and that's just a big improvement over Providence, where they can't go anywhere. The only thing that you can dream is that this guy would come with some sort of effect parts similar to the high grade, so that you could actually display the Dragoons shooting off and getting ready to lay down some pain. So it's on to speculation about the future, and as the Providence rolls into view, if you're a fan of Master Grades and you're a fan of Seed, you've got to be really happy with the news that we're going to be getting Buster, Duel, Aegis, and all those guys are going to be coming out. You'd like to think that at the end of that, they'd also be releasing a Justice and a Providence to go along with that, and then I wonder if we'll have to wait for 10 years after Seed Destiny before getting a few Master Grades from that line. However, right away, I'm already happy with this. Even if I knew there was a Master Grade coming, well, of course I'd wait for that. But I certainly would have no doubts that I would recommend this right now, you picking it up. And if they announced a Master Grade tomorrow, I think you'd still be happy to have the 2 of them. So with Master Grades, it placed pretty well in the polls, or so the rumors on the internet would have you here. You've got a high grade, you've got a 1/100th. Anyway, Master Grade would be nice, but this is as close as you're going to get without getting those 2 all-important letters slapped in front of it. Any chances of 1/60th or anything else like that? I hardly think so. Real grade, probably not done. But Master Grade, it will happen. It's just a question of whether it's going to be now or in 5 years. But in the meantime, we've got a great placeholder in the form of this non-grade. All these positive things, and I haven't even mentioned the character plate, which is actually a lot of fun and something I'd rather have than a character that I'm not going to paint and is just going to sit in a bag. Anyway, everybody, Robert184 Gundam.tk, this is just my opinion and mine alone, so why don't you let me know what you think of the Legend in the anime, in model form, and what we could be getting in the future. Love to hear from you with a comment down below. Please hit like if you do, and don't if you don't. I mean, hit don't like, that is. I mean, you can hit don't like if you don't like it. And subscribe if you haven't already. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. As always, see you next time. Lots more reviews, good guys, bad guys, and everything in between. Thanks for watching. See ya. Dairy. You know, this bad guy shelf is going to be even better when Shin gets bumped down to here.